Friends, we have multiple flashpoints going off right now, and we have a high likelihood of one of these situations across the world developing into a very serious situation, even a global world war. As I am saying now, we are one big misstep away from a very serious crisis. And this could happen in multiple different spheres. We're going to talk about a number of different places. We're going to happen to talk about what's happening in Venezuela, but we're also going to be talking about what's happening inside the United States right now. We have a color revolution happening inside the United States, and people who aren't seeing that don't understand what's going on, but it is extremely dangerous. We also have the Russia-Europe problem happening over there. Europe is provoking things that it is not ready and prepared to handle. We got China versus the ocean and the whole area around there. That's a big problem. And of course, we always have Iran out there. Where is the flashpoint going to happen? Is somebody going to make a big mistake that's going to be a huge deal? We're going to talk about that on this channel. We're going to walk you through some of the biggest updates happening in some of these places and what could potentially happen next. And we want to hear from you guys as well. Let's get into it. 2025 is almost over, and we're falling into the same trap again, waiting until January to start something new or learn a new skill. But here's the truth. You don't need a new year in order to make a new start. AI was one of the most in-demand skills of 2025, yet most of us didn't learn it. And that puts us at risk. Not just of falling behind, but being replaced. You still have 25 days in this year to learn AI and step into 2026 a more skilled, smarter, and employable individual in just 2 days. Let me tell you about the 2-day live AI mastermind training by Outskill, the world's first AI-focused educational platform, happening this Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern on both days. And the timing is perfect because they have their year-end holiday offer going on so that you can get in absolutely for free instead of the usual $395. Outskill is rated 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot, and this 16-hour live experience by them has been attended by more than 10 million worldwide professionals like you across fields like marketing, finance, engineering, and data, mentored directly by AI experts from companies like Microsoft and NVIDIA. The best part? This training isn't just about learning tools, it's about changing the way you work. You'll learn how to use AI to simplify your daily tasks, build AI agents that plan, create, and automate your workflows, design AI automations that connect tools like Sheets, Notion, and CRMs to save hours, gain ready-to-use AI systems for your job, business, and freelance projects. But learning these skills isn't just enough. The most important part is knowing how to monetize them. Outskill's learners have launched AI-powered business models that even built weekly revenue models worth $4,000 to $5,000. Not just that, but you'll receive bonuses worth $5,000, including a prompt Bible, a roadmap to monetize AI, and a personalized AI toolkit builder, only if you attend both days. This Christmas, gift this opportunity to someone who you think could benefit from learning AI, as it could change their career in 2026. Seats are limited. Grab yours now via the link in the description. P.S. Join the WhatsApp community to stay updated before the big blast. One stupid move away from catastrophe. It's very much on the lead up to World War I. Right, when Archduke Ferdinand took a projectile to his noggin, right? I mean, we got Sarajevo. I got to travel to the spot where it actually happened. Archduke Ferdinand got taken out, and it caused a cascading reaction across Europe because we had all these people, all these countries lined up into treaties and all sorts of peace pacts. They had designed the whole thing so that war would be impossible. It would be unthinkable. But in fact, what it happened to do is drag everybody into the one world war. So what areas do we see this potentially happening in? The first step is in Venezuela. We just reported yesterday, or this morning actually, that we are hearing reports that this has been given a green light, and that American troops have already potentially been into Venezuela. Now, special operations soldiers could operate inside Venezuela for quite some time before we would actually ever hear anything about it. That is kind of the nature of what they do. But in addition to that, we also have air operations could begin, and that would have a little bit bigger of an impact. If we start dismantling the air defense systems of the Venezuelan government, we will see a lot more explosions on TV in the near future. Now, Venezuela and the United States is not really a world war. Now, if some regional powers start to get involved, that could change things substantially. Is Brazil going to sit by and just kind of watch this happen? I think most people are banking on the answer yes, but you got to remember that the Brazilian government does not like President Trump at all. Now, can the Brazilian military stand toe-to-toe with the United States? No, it cannot. And this is not exactly near their populated cities. This border region is basically they got a bunch of tribal people up there. Now, there are some towns up there, and there are some roads, sort of. So how would the Brazilians get stuff, get military equipment, get hardware up against the Venezuelan border? That's kind of hard to imagine. Now, if the Brazilian government starts squawking and talking, that could put a lot of political pressure on the United States. Now, Colombia is absolutely against President Trump's pressure on Venezuela. So we have multiple countries surrounding them. We got other countries in South America that are kind of unfriendly to the United States. We may see a bunch of them get together and say, you need to stop that. And that will only embolden what could really be the problem, which is if China or Russia decide to do something in response to this. Now, I don't think that they would necessarily take their troops and their equipment halfway around the world and drop them off in Venezuela. But what they may do is say, if you're doing that over there, we're going to do this over here. And that's where I think is the bigger issue. I think that if the United States is invading a random country on the map, I think that other countries may be feeling emboldened to do basically the same thing at the same time. And then when the international community cries out, then they go, wait a minute, how is it wrong that we are doing this? But then there's the United States going and doing that right now. All right, so we got Venezuela. That could pop off. If any country gets involved, if any country does anything to American soldiers, you had better believe that that's going to cause a serious blow up. Second thing, and this is where I'm actually more concerned. This is less imminent, but it is more like going to happen. It is already happening. It's unfolding as I speak. If nothing changes, we're going to see problems here. And that is the color revolution that is unfolding inside the United States. Now, ever since the United States has been meddling in other countries, since the 1990s, the CIA and the other agencies and NGOs and stuff like that have gotten involved in changing governments or regime change without invasions, they've gotten really good at basically pushing over governments and replacing them with other governments. Now, they follow a very specific and very consistent playbook. And what does this look like? First off is that they make the government like illegitimate. So they delegitimize the government in the eyes of the people. They start calling it names, fascist, corrupt. They use imagery and words in order to paint the government as they're laying the philosophical groundwork for why people would stand up and revolt. Then after that, then they accuse the government of future crimes. So if you accuse them of crimes that they've done, there can be a court case. There can be like, we need to wait for the legal people to get involved. But when you start making the case that, hey, they're going to do bad stuff and they're going to do really horrible stuff, that's really kind of hard to defend against. Like, what do you say? Like, no, I'm not going to do that. And they go, yes, you are. You're a bad person, and these are bad things, and that's why you're going to do them eventually. And we need to do something to stop you from doing that. It really colors the revolution, essentially, right? It gives them urgency, right? And when you hear that, suddenly a lot of stuff that the opposition in the United States are saying, it starts to make more sense, doesn't it? They're painting President Trump with future crimes, things he hasn't done yet, that, oh, he's going to do those things. They make movies and stuff about this stuff, right? This is what we do to destabilize other countries. And you see that they're doing that here in the United States. NGOs, the next step, NGOs, student groups, they mobilize and they organize. So they fund all these groups, and you start going, okay, they're definitely got those NGOs. They definitely got all these groups, BLM, we got Antifa, we got all these groups out there that are organized, right? And they're unified in message. They're on brand. They're saying the same things. They're all repeating the same things. And media is involved in this coup, this soft coup as well. After that, they create this unifying theme that they use all of their mouthpieces to push. And that is really, we saw that last time around, right? There was not just a delegitimizing of the election. It was also, they vilified Trump, and they did it in a very consistent way. And the unifying themes that they were all expressing, they were trying to depose the government. And that's exactly what they did. And then they had they tried to destabilize the government after Trump was out of office, and the illegitimate government truly was installed. They continued to push the playbook in order to make it so that Trump could never return. After that, then they have an electoral crisis. Does that sound at all familiar? Does that sound familiar at all? Then they have street mobilization. Okay, so they have this illegitimate election. They have the street mobilization. When you hear all this stuff, you're going, this sounds really, really familiar, because they tried to depose the government. They tried a soft coup in the United States. And if you listen carefully, they're doing it again. They're doing it again, and they're trying to be much more focused this time. They're trying to do it even better. And that's why President Trump going after these NGOs, going after the dark money, and going after these organizations is so important. He's realizing, he and his people at the White House are realizing what is going on, and they're fighting against it. They're trying to stomp this out. After that, then there's, after the street mobilization and the mass protests, you have blackmail against police and military. Yeah, we definitely saw that. Now, that's where we're going with this thing, okay? And if nothing is done, we will end up going down that path again. And a destabilized United States of America could very easily turn into World War III. And if you're in the United States of America, it doesn't matter if it's World War III or if it's Civil War. War on your home front is devastating, and is what we're talking about here. The next one, number 3, Russia and Europe. And I didn't say Russia and Ukraine. That's not a world war. Now, if France and the UK or other idiots in Europe decide to send troops into that conflict and become active combatants in the conflict, which they already kind of are, once they pull that veil off and they actively engage in combat operations, this is going to change tune real fast. Russia has already said that they do not want war with Europe, but they are prepared to do it. And if they do it, there will be no one left to negotiate with. Now, what does that sound like? What are they threatening? They're threatening to wipe out Europe. Okay? They're saying basically we can't compete with Europe and the United States and everybody else against us militarily. So what are we going to do? We will use nuclear weapons. That's what they're saying. And all it takes is some European country to do something incredibly dumb that will force Russia to use nuclear weapons. Now, whose side are we going to be on that way? I mean, hey, listen, if that happens, I mean, at some point you just need to root for your own home team, right? I mean, if we're in World War III, it doesn't matter how it started anymore. Now it's just like you got to win, because being on the losing side of a major war is a terrible, terrible thing. It's just not a good thing to be on. You need your team to win, okay? And so if that starts, we're not going to be all sitting there going, well, they were provoked. It's our fault, you know. I mean, if the United States can stay out of it and say, yeah, you guys did that to yourselves, then fine. But if the United States gets pulled into this, then, I mean, at that point, you just got to shrug your shoulders and just say, how do we get through this? How do we get through this? If someone in your family does something incredibly stupid, you know, maybe you and your family need to follow through on that too. That's just how life works, isn't it? We want to make wise choices. We want to be aware of what's going on, but at some point, you just need to just see things through. Anyway, China versus the ocean. Now, that sounds a little silly, but basically China versus Korea, China versus Japan, China versus Philippines, China versus Taiwan, China versus, even to some extent, Vietnam. China is just pushing its borders against India, pushing its borders with Thailand, pushing its borders against Burma. I think the Burmese made some peace there, but you got all this happening out there, and really, China is now seeing itself as a global polar power. Okay, so you got multipolar powers. We've been in a United States dominating the world and the lone superpower. Well, China is now saying, hey, you're not the only superpower anymore. Now you're just one of the powers. Because China and maybe Russia are powers. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily that China can stand up to the United States, but the idea is China, with help, could stand up to the United States. In that type of situation, then the United States doesn't get to dictate to the world everything, okay? Then it's like the world gets to say something about this now. And China has been buying a lot of influence out there. So if somebody does something to China and China decides to flip off the handle like the United States has a tendency to do, up till now, the United States has been able to flip off the handle and nobody's been able to do anything about it. Everyone just kind of, okay, I hope they calm down eventually. Everyone just kind of watched Iraq. Everyone watched Afghanistan, and just nobody could do anything about it. So they just kind of either joined in or they sat back and held their tongue, because you can't do anything about it, so you just let it happen. That may happen with China. China may decide that there is a make or break thing. They have lost face. They've been insulted. The Japanese have done something to them, and they're going to go out there and do airstrikes on Japan. That is something that China could foreseeably do. Okay, some of these disputed islands, some of these disputed situations. Up till now, China has been covertly doing stuff. I mean, everybody knows what they're doing, but they haven't overtly done these things. Well, that could absolutely change. So China versus the ocean. And when it comes to Taiwan, at some point, if things are destabilized enough in China, they could just go right in. They could go in, and it looks like they would be successful. That's what most military people have been saying over the years, is that the balance of power is now in favor of China. China could take Taiwan if they wanted to. The question is, how high would the cost be? And I've laid out on numerous occasions how the cost could be very, very low to China if they play their cards right. And I think China is not stupid. China has been looking at the Taiwan problem and has been planning and planning and planning. And as the attacker, they have the initiative. And initiative is everything in the attack. They can stack the deck to be favorable battle conditions for themselves. And everyone who thinks that they're going to just do stupid, take their boats right across the water, they're going to build up massive conventional forces so that everyone in the world sees exactly what they're doing, allows Taiwan to mobilize their entire military, and then they're going to slowly cross the channel, the Taiwanese Strait, in like formation, like British troops marching, if you think that's what they're going to do, that's just silly. And yet that's what most military planners think that's what's going to happen. And then you got Iran out there. Iran is very capable of doing something incredibly stupid. Whether it's blocking the Strait of Hormuz, whether it's attacking Saudi Arabia, attacking Israel again, they are massively building up their missile forces. And the Ayatollah still exists with the express purpose to destroy and wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Now, that is what they state is their goal, and if they take out Israel, then the 13th Imam will come and bring salvation to all of the Muslims across the world. Will bring in a kingdom of heaven on earth for the Muslims. So, are they going to try again? They absolutely are. And are they going to try again with a nuclear weapon? Quite possibly. All right, friends, let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.